There has been people posting where it looks like a vast wasteland of dried out lake. And I've actually even seen some comments of people legitimately concerned, like, oh, I'm so sad. That was my favorite lake, because the lake has gone away. Jesse, there has been a ton of chatter, I feel like abnormal chatter this year about the winter drawdown. Very specifically, if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, there has been people posting deep in their coves. I feel like it's up Gravois Mill area, if I had to guess, where it looks like a vast wasteland of dried out lake. And it's kind of clickbaity and, oh my gosh, look at the lake. And so that's one thing that I don't feel like we've ever seen in the past. The second thing is a lot of people have just through conversation saying, I feel like it's lower than it's ever been. You are a veteran of the lake. You've experienced this every single year. What do you say?
It's probably going to happen again next year.
But do you think
same time, same place?
Is it lower than normal? I mean, is it,
No, I've seen it lower than what we are. The one thing I didn't remember this year was typically around Christmas and New Year's, we're back up to full pool. I didn't see that this year. For our water levels for this time of year, there's no news there.
Yeah.
It's like this every
But
year.
they're making it news. Yes. And I've actually even seen some comments of people legitimately concerned, like, oh, I'm so sad. That was my favorite lake, because the lake has gone away. And we've talked about this. It's federally mandated. There's the guide curve. They have to follow certain levels.
Yeah, so we really won't see it back at the full pool. They'll start in April. They'll start bringing the water level up. Then it won't be until a couple weeks right before Memorial Day weekend before we'll be back to full pool.
So right now we are down about how many feet?
Oh, boy, we got to be 6 feet down.
Yeah, probably give or take a few inches, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen the lake lower. This is all pretty normal stuff.
Yeah. What would have caused it to go more, to be even lower?
To be even lower.
Drought?
I mean, we had some good rain this week, but we didn't have much for snow this year. I feel like a lot of the country, even in the Rocky Mountains, that was a big,
not seasonally warm.
Big issue for all the ski resorts and revenue that they lost out on. So I felt like this winter was just very dry. Our fall, from what I remember, was very dry. I haven't looked at our precipitation. I would have to imagine that we're under, but just kind of typical stuff. The one thing I would warn about, once they do start bringing the water levels back up, be careful, early season boaters. And our buddy Chris was talking about this in his boat when he was going out and ripping the bottom skag off and having to re-weld it on, because once they start bringing it up, any logs or sticks or anything that's on the shorelines out, and especially when it rains, it's going to push that stuff out to the lake. And it can be a little dicey, especially if you sit low and you can't see that stuff in a little fast boat, and run over it and really wreck your outboard.
Yeah, I think I told you this. We went to go take our boat out in March, 90-degree day, lower the lift, get everything uncovered, clean, fired it up, lower the lift, ready to go out. And all of a sudden the lift just stopped. And I was like, uh-oh, something's wrong with the lift. I went and got my tape measure.
This is your first year at the new slip.
Correct. Well, second, but I guess it wasn't warm enough last spring. We never even considered taking it out. Turns out we're in about 4.5 foot of water, which I need about 5.5 to 6.
Yep. That is a thing.
That's so pissed.
Definitely for buyers when we're looking at homes, that's definitely something that I always want to bring up. Our Camden County GIS mapping system took those photos when the drawdown happened. While I cannot project what the depth will be, we can look at the county plat maps and you can get a pretty good idea.
That is a excellent precursor for a question I'm going to have. There you go.
Stay tuned. Welcome to the March market update for Lakefront Homes and Condos, coming to you from the beautiful Villages residential subdivision here over in Sunrise Beach, just across the non-toll bridge now. We are the listing broker for the developer for some remaining lots in here in the Villages. I have been coming to the Villages since the 90s, back when we owned a heating and cooling company and doing houses over here. This is the premier neighborhood at Lake of the Ozarks to live in. I would say that bar none. There's no short-term rentals in this neighborhood. This is the place to be for quiet enjoyment of the property in the most upscale area here. They've got pickleball courts over here. We're sitting at a playground now. It's a phenomenal place to be at. If you have any questions on this area, feel free to give me a call, 573-260-0868. And with that being said, let's dive into some numbers. Lakefront Homes and Condos are both on a tear to start this season. Lakefront home sales up over 17% so far this year, and condos up 26% in the number of transactions. We haven't had a start like this to the season for years. Starting off with Lakefront Homes, March 2026 saw 124 new Lakefront home listings, really close to last March's at 130. So we actually had a few less listings come to market so far. Year to date, new listings are up 16.25% with 322 new listings versus 277 last year. Currently, there are 270 Lakefront homes active on the market, with 83 of those under contract, which just signals that we have immense buyer demand. When we strategize bringing a listing out in the spring, I've been bringing listings out sooner than what we have in years past. We've actually had some really great weather and the buyers are out there. So if you want to sell your property, people want to buy it, let's go ahead and get it out to them. March median Lakefront sale price is at $674,500, down by about 1.5% from last March at $685,000. Year to date, median sale price sits at $640,000, down 1.5% from last year's $650,000. Our pricing, it's going to fluctuate a little bit, 1.5%, nothing alarming here. Lakefront home sales, like I said before, solid performance, 56 sales this March compared to 49 last March, a 14.3% increase. Year to date, we're up an impressive 17% over last year's sale, with 123 sales compared to 105 last year. Continuing strong momentum for January and February. We had a strong back half of the season last year. I figured that was going to carry into the first part, and boy, has it. March Lakefront Homes averaged 61 days on market compared to 56 days last March. Year to date, we're at 62 versus 55 last year, so that's 12.6% increase on our days on market, which just means our market's slowing down a little bit. Buyers have a little bit more time to make decisions. Those nice houses, they still move quickly. List to sale price ratio came in at 95.54% in March. Year to date, we're just below that at 95.3%. Last year, we were at 96.3%, which just means that negotiations are happening more and sellers are having to come down a little bit in price because buyers have more options. Year to date, our volume reached 102.4 million, up an impressive 20.75% over last year's 84.8 million in dollars traded. Months of supply sits at 5.8 months, just a touch up from February's 5.7 months. And last March, we were at 5.4 months, really signaling a stable market. So 6 months is a neutral market, which means neither the buyer nor the seller has the leverage in the market. So really healthy market to be where we're at right now for Lakefront Home. Lakefront home sales by price bracket, that 300 to just under 500,000, 37 homes, up 4 from last February's 33, 500,000 to 750,000, 71 homes, up 12 from last month, 750 to a million, just up 1 from last month at 47 homes, 1 to 2 million, 56 homes are out there on the market, down 1 from last month. 2 to 5 million, 36 homes, down 3 from last month. Over 5 million, 7 homes, down 2 from last month. 270 total current available active listings, up 5 from last month, with 85 listings having reduced their price 31.5%. March delivered solid results with sales up 14%. Year over year, the year-to-date sales up over 17%. Most impressively, year-to-date dollar volume is up nearly 21% to 102.4 million, despite median prices being essentially flat. This indicates, a lot of activity out in the market across all price segments. The mid-range 500 to 750 saw the largest inventory increase, up 12 homes. This has really positioned buyers well for their spring market search. With 83 homes under contract and months of supply holding at 5.8, the market is functioning beautifully. It's firing on all cylinders. Now switching over to the Lakefront condo market, new condo listings in March totaled 154, really close to last year's 157. Year to date, we're up 16.25% on new condo listings at 415 versus 357 from last year. March median condo sale price of $290,000 is a decrease of 17% from March 2025 that was at $350,000. So that's a $60,000 swing in median sale price. However, the vast majority of condos that sold, 68.5%, sold under that $350,000 mark, including 12 sales under $200,000. Year-to-date median sale price of $302,250 is down 8.4% from $330,000 last year, but year-to-date volume is up nearly 25%. So we have a strong market. It's just that a lot of the inventory that has moved right now has been that lower price point market that's bringing that median sale price. Spring gets here, we'll see some higher priced homes at the market, some higher priced condos at the market, and that I would see that number bounce back up. Condo sales surged with 54 units sold versus 43 last March. That's 25.5% increase. Year to date, sales are up impressively at 26% to 112 from 89 last year. So a lot more happy condo sellers this year, that's for sure. Average days on market increased to 78 days from last March, 49 days. It's a 60% increase. So sellers out there, it really puts an emphasis on your pricing in being priced to sell. Buyers have a lot of options. You got to stand out from the crowd. And from what I found in my experience selling my own property, 3 things that are fundamentally important, whether you're selling any home or condo, is how we do our listing process with a pre-listing inspection, staging. And then we also, as a brokerage, we put a 1-year home warranty for that new buyer, so they're not worried about any old appliances or any big pocket expenditures during the first year of their ownership. List to sale price ratio currently at 96.11% compared to last March's 97.18%. Year to date stands at 96.16%. Showing the sellers are just having to do a little bit more negotiation because buyers have more options. Months of supply increased to 10.5 months from February's 9.6 months. In March of 2025, 9.9 months. So we're up a half month on our supply compared to where we were last year. Last year, we topped out in the middle of the summer season at 12 months. I would expect that number to keep trending up when more people go to market. While this is elevated, the 26% increase in year-to-date sales demonstrates that the market is still absorbing inventory. There's still buyers out there. We just happen to have a lot more sellers right now. So buyers definitely have a leverage when they go to writing offers and forcing those sellers to negotiate a little bit. Lakefront Condos available by room count. 2-bedroom units up 17 from last month to 118. 3-bedroom units available up 11 from February to 233 3-bedroom condos available. 4-bedroom units available up 6 from last month to 29 units. 417 total active listings up 37 from February's 380, with 127 or 30.5% having price reductions searching for a buyer. So to summarize Lakefront Condos for March, 25.5% sales increase and almost 25% year-to-date volume growth demonstrates genuine market strength despite the 17% median price decline. The median price drop reflects sales mix. 68.5% of March sales were under $350,000. Rather than price deterioration, it's just that lower price point is what we saw sell this past month. With 81 units under contract and sales up over 25% year-to-date, buyer demand is clearer than present. We would expect to carry this momentum into the next year. Now, while there are some things going on geopolitically, we want to keep our eye on that as well. So for buyers looking for a lakefront home, with sales up 17% year-to-date, 83 homes under contract, competition is building even before our peak spring season. Months of supply at 5.8. We'll want to keep our eye on that to see if we get more inventory in, or if the buyer is so strong that it pulls that number down, we tighten up our inventory. Motivated buyers are out there and active. Spring will intensify your buyer competition. Condos, outstanding selection with 10.5 months of supply, 417 condos available. This extended days on market gives you time to evaluate your options. However, sales are up 26% year to date, which means it is a very active market. For sellers, I just went through kind of our process, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you going into further detail about why we do what we do. I've taken those preliminary steps before we go to market. For a lakefront home seller, year-to-date volume is up 21% to 102.4 million. Proves the market's strong across all price points, with 83 homes currently under contract, months of supply holding at 5.8. Sellers who price competitively, they're finding buyers. The mid-range market, the 500 to 750, very popular segment of the market, has the most inventory at 71 homes. This means that you really have to be dialed in on your price if you want to achieve top dollar. It's so much better if you can pick the right price going to market versus going to market with an inflated sale price and then having to do price drops and chase the market down. You'll actually receive less than what you would have if you would have been priced right from day one. For lakefront condo sellers, don't be discouraged by March's price drop. It's going to even out in the end once we get a few more months into this. Units sold were at 68.5% under that 350 mark. It's not market weakness. Year-to-date volume is up 25%. Sales are up 26%. All signs are looking very, very good. Other than the days on market is some headwinds and our months of supply. So March's performance, homes up 14%, condos up 26% in sales, confirms strong momentum heading into peak season. The combination of robust year-to-date volume growth, homes up 21%, condos up 25%. This is significant activity for our spring. We're off to a good start. As we move into April and May, expect continued inventory to build up as more sellers list for peak season. Accelerated buying activity as weather improves. We've been having great weather. The weather that people are having in Illinois, Iowa, and Nebraska, as long as they're having good weather, that's going to draw more people down on the weekends and picking up some of that inventory. Competitive pricing becoming even more critical. I mean, I beat the drum on this. If you want to trade your home, it has to show value at its current price point. Nobody wants to trade you $1.25 for something that's worth $1. Extended showing activity with buyers having more options to evaluate. means that we're really geared up for a good, strong season. We'll keep an eye on what's going on, and you can always come back to next month and we'll see where we're going from here. But this season is showing really strong strength. If you're thinking about selling your home, reach out to me. Let's go over our free listing regimen and that proven framework of how we get properties sold faster and put more money in your pocket while we do it. And for buyers, if you've been out there before, maybe in years past and haven't had any luck, give me a call. We can dial in on the market reality, what it is, what you can expect for your money, and how we negotiate with a strong contract up front. I'm Jesse Falsich with Lake Expo Real Estate. Until next time.